Good morning, everyone. Welcome to IDEA's Resili Dance Festival 2021. We are doing our masterclass session on music and dance. How does Raga and Tala enhance Bhava in dance? And we are very honored to have two very eminent speakers today to go over this topic with us, Shri Kiran Subramaniam and Ramya Kapadia. I will take a few minutes now to introduce them to both of you before we start the session. Kiran, hailing from a very deep cultural family, he was born to be an artist himself. Passionate about Bharatanatyam, he established an institution for Indian classical dance called Rasika Arts Foundation in Bangalore in 1999. Kiran dances along with his wife Sandhya, and together they have created waves in dance circles across the globe. The Kirans have been performing in India and several other countries for 30 years now. I would like to share a personal tidbit here that Kiran and Sandhya are known to me. I had the good fortune to be in Padmini Auntie's class at the same time that they were there. I have known them as friends and as dance mates. And they are wonderful people. And I really cherish those memories of being there in Pradhan Dance Center with them. A fun fact is that Kiran taught me a few of my dances for my Arangetram as well. And he's a wonderful mridangist as well. He played mridangam for my Arangetram. So wonderful to see you, Kiran, and share this space with you. Um, Next, we will introduce Ramya. Ramya Kapadia is a Durham-based Bharatanatyam dancer, choreographer, instructor, and a Carnatic vocalist. She tours all over the US and abroad to present solo and group works. Ramya received the Ella Pratt Emerging Artist Award from the Durham Arts Council 2010, the Choreography Fellowship from the North Carolina Dance Alliance in 2016, and the Artistic Support Project Award from the North Carolina Arts Council in 2020. She runs the Natyarpana School of Dance and Music in Durham, North Carolina, and is also the Associate Director of Maryland based Prakriti Dance. She is grateful to her many mentors for providing her with rich and varied experience in the arts. Also, Ramya, I have had the fortune to listen to you sing for quite few Arangetrams in the area, and it's really wonderful to be here with both of you today. Um, we will now move on to the masterclass session, Raga and Tala to enhance the Bhava. And I would like you to just give a brief description of what is meant by Raga, Bhava, and Tala in dance, and then go ahead with the discussion. Should we start with you, Ramya or Kiran?
We'll begin. Again, I think I speak for Kiran sir as well when I say that we are so happy to be a part of this panel, and it's been a great opportunity for me to be able to speak with sir a number of times these past few weeks to prepare for today's session, and it's been a very eye-opening and a very inspiring experience for me. So I truly thank Leslie Dance and Idea for bringing us together on this. And, thank you.
Yeah, namaskaram. And like Ramya said, it's wonderful to be a part of this such a mega event. It's so well organized and put together. And for me, it's a beautiful moment because I am, you know, host doing this thing with one of my most uh, favorite artists, Ramya Kapadia, because she's a multi-talented artist, and I've been a big fan of her both dancing and music. And Viva, it's such a like a nostalgic moment for me now to remember all those wonderful times we had at class and to connect back through Resili Dance. Thank you, and we are looking forward. I'm also looking forward to the session.
So at the outset, uh, I think we will invite all the participants to please turn on your videos if that is comfortable. We'd love to see who you are. I do recognize some names and some faces. but we would love to know more as we are doing in active format in these Zoom meetings. We'd love for everybody to just quickly put in the chat what kind of art you practice, whether it is a visual art or music, dance, film, poetry, any of the above, or if you're a Rasika, please just put it in the chat. We'd love to know who you are and what you love doing. So, I think we all agree here that art changes us. It uplifts our minds from the mundane to a higher plane. Now, this art can be visual, it can be oral or physical. The art can be practiced, it can be performed or viewed, but nevertheless, both the practitioner and the viewer have some kind of an experience, and this can be loosely understood as the rasa bhava relationship. So, today let's try and look at this rasa bhava relationship in the context of dance. We also want this to be very interactive and not like a one-way street. So everybody, when we ask any questions or pose questions to you, please feel free to unmute and just call out answers. Okay, little ones too. I see a few faces. So uh, when we think of dance, what immediately comes to mind, or rather, who and what have to come together for say a dance performance? Feel free to unmute and let me know. So we would need we would need a dancer, I think. We would need a dancer. We would need a musician or musicians. Uh, and so now this dancer is dancing too. Dancer does movements, performs movements to some kind of music. The music has melody and rhythm. For us, in these we would call Ragam and Talam. Yes. And what would we put all this on? Lyrics or Sahityam, right? So now, when for any dancer, when we are presented with a poem or Sahityam or lyrics, this immediately brings to mind some kind of a picture. And then what we do is we draw upon pre-existing knowledge, tradition, mythology, literature to infuse layers of meanings into those lyrics. Then the characters that emerge out of such a process, these characters set the tone of the story. Now, what else supplements the tone? Ragam and Talam. So let's keep these terms in mind, Ragam and Talam. And one more word that we love for you to keep in mind is Kala Pramanam or pace. Okay? Once again, let's now think about works and compositions that we have heard, we have seen, created by masters. And this really, everybody, just feel free to unmute and call out answers. When I say the word rain, what is a ragam that comes to mind? Ragam or ragams? Anybody?
Yeah, when she says rain, so which raga comes to your mind immediately?
Oh, I see Meghamalhar. Great.
Meghamalhar, okay.
Okay. Great. When I say love or Shringaram, right? What comes to mind? Mohanam.
Mohanam.
Mohanam. Wonderful. When I say Veera Rasa or bravery, courage, heroism, what ragam comes to mind?
Ramya, I think there is a feedback in your.
Yeah, your volume can be a little higher because it's a little feeble.
Let me move a little closer. Oh, I see Bhairavi. Great.
Bhairavi, interesting.
Wonderful. So there are, based on what we have heard, what we have, seen in the past, there is this pre-existing set of ragams that immediately create certain emotions, and why not? These are time tested, tried and tested ragas that definitely we know bring those emotions into, infuse emotions into the lyrics. Wonderful. Now, another exercise. Let me give you the word mother goddess, goddess, Devi. Everybody quickly make a list for yourselves about the qualities of a goddess. Beautiful, fierce, passionate, fearsome, right? Any of those, brave, nurturing, tender, compassionate, any of those qualities. Quickly make a list. Now I'm going to sing one line of a song, and we'll see what that brings to your mind. Okay. Akhilandeshwari Rakshama. Quickly check on your list what qualities of the goddess came to mind when you listen to this song. The next one. Taka 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 vendradomo Shiva Shakti. What came to mind now? They are both the goddess. There is one that is in Dvijavanti Ragam. Akhilandeshwari. And then taka 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 vendradomo. Okay. I hope you made lists and marks on your sheets of paper. Now let's the two ragams, right? Akhilandeshwari Rakshama. What does the goddess look like now? Who is this lady? Who is she? And what is the feeling of this devotee that is singing to this goddess? Okay, same way. தக தக தகவென்று ஆடோமோ சிவசக்தி. What has happened to Shiva Shakti now? What has happened to this goddess? How does she dance? Taka taka taka. Is she now dancing, stomping, fearsome like this with passion, or is she now playfully dancing? Right? These are some of the things that we would love for you to just keep in mind. We're going to give a lot of information, so keep this in mind. Think about what we just talked about in terms of ragam, and now I'll pass the baton on to sir.
No, I'll pick up from where you left. That's so beautifully you put across the Rajavanti. The first when you sang Akhilandeshwari, the poise, the kind of, the composure, all the characters of the Devi can be already visualized even before starting to visualize with the raga itself, the way you sang, and the Shiva Shakti you sang, the kind of the vibrance we saw. And when you switched over, the same thing, the Shiva Shakti, the Kilandeshwari, when you this one, how the gentleness it became, beautiful gentleness, but at the same time the wonder aspect, the beautiful thing. And then when you say sang Shiva Shakti in the same Dvajavanti and brought it, and how you mellowed down so beautifully from that, that high vibrant this one too. So this is what I call is playing with the bhavas and emotions and kind of. So this bhava also is a very important terminology in the aspect of what you call the tala. Very important, because tala is just not rhythm; it's rhythm with emotion in it. Only when we go deeper into it and understand, we know there is so much emotion in every syllable, in every movement what we do, in dance. So before we go on to, I would just like to talk to you about a word called laya. Laya is prana, the, the breath is of anything in this creation is laya. Okay, laya, when it is structured into a particular time cycle, we call it as tala. Simple. Now, for example, I can relate laya and tala in a very simple exercise I will give you. When I say, when we do the pranayama, when you say breathe in and breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. The breath is laya. Now, when I say 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out, 3, 4, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. So, when I'm fixing a structure to a breath this one, so it becomes tala. That is all the simple way of understanding the laya. So, laya is there in every one of us, in every creation around us. So sometimes when the structured laya comes in, the geometrical approach to understanding laya, so that becomes more of a tala. When I say geometrical, because a laya, it can exist in any kala pramanam or any tempo or any kind of different levels it can exist. Laya. Tala has a structure, it's a mathematical, it's a logical conclusion which we come into. And in that there are two main progressions which I feel is very important for us to observe. That is, one is the natural progression and the arithmetic geometric progression. Natural progression is what actually we see most of the time in and around us. Let us take our dance terminology or the tala itself. When I say takka dimmi takka jonno 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 takka dimmi takka jonno. So I'm going naturally to a different level of executing the aksharas, putting them into. When I say takka dimmi, takka jonno, takka dim, takka jonno, takka dimmi, takka jonno, takka dimmi, takka jonno, takka dimmi, takka jonno, takka dimmi, takka dimmi, like that you can go on, but it is fixed. The progressions are fixed. So these are called geometric progressions, which we dancers, especially Bharatanatyam dancers, and also even the other style dances, predominantly use the geometric progression approach. So I'm not going to, because since we have to talk many things, I'm not going to go to too much of technical details on Talam. But I can say that every, like Ramya mentioned one word called Kala Pramana. Pramana means promise. Promise means it's a promising, it is so correct, the Kala Pramanam, which brings in everything with it in the perfect proportion. In the sense, the bhava, the kind of sahitya, suppose we are taking a song and a kala pramanam. The kala pramanam is very important for us to bring out the sattvam, that is sattvikam of that, the right this one of the sahityam has to be brought out. Then the correct kala pramanam is very, very important. And in dance, let us look at it in a practical way. To execute, we need the correct kala pramanam. Otherwise, what happens is, sometimes even however good a dancer is, if you choose a wrong kala pramanam, it might not suit you many times, or you may not be able to execute, or sometimes it becomes a rasabhanga, that is, it says something else what you're doing. So the kala pramanam is the most important part of the rhythm structure. And in dance, we are talking about rhythm. When I say, though we are looking at it only very looking in dance, as when you say rhythm, we only talk about an alaripu, and we talk about a jatiswaram, in which we talk about with different calculations, and varnam, we talk about a jati, and then we go on to the padams and the javalis. Then we go on to the tillana. Again, tillana, we talk about rhythm. For me, rhythm is two ways. As I said, nishabda and shashabda. Nishabda means even when you are not doing any noise or tapping, or tapping your leg, or even if you're just still, there is rhythm. That is nishabda, which we call in talam as kriya. Nishabda kriya, shashabda kriya, we call. The same thing exists in dance also. The shashabda kriya also. So you judiciously use these two aspects is to depict something in a very powerful way on stage. When you go on stage, bringing everything into the aspect. And when I say rhythm, even for me, rhythm has musicality. There is raga in rhythm. When I say raga and rhythm, you might not have a melody as such, but there is a kind of an underlying melody which comes with every rhythmic aspect. For example, simple, the way we take an alaripu, when we do a movement, say, tat te yum, tat tam, kitataka tat te yum, tat tam, kitataka tam, dit tam. So the syllables are there, but when you put fixed movements for them, it's important to understand the bhava and the melody behind those movements, and also adapt your rhythmic delineation according to that also. So tat te yum, tat tam, kitataka tat te yum, tat tam, kitataka tam, dit tam, kitataka te, tat te, kitataka tam, ditam te, tatay tam, ditam te, tatay, ditam te, tatay tam, ditam te, tatay tam, ditam te, tatay tam, ditam te, tatay, ditam te, tatay tam, ditam te, tatay tagata jam tarita, tatagata jam tarite, kritakadradam, tak kritakadradam, takatiku kritakadradam, tat te, teyum, tat tam, kitataka tat, te, teyum, tat tat tam, kitataka tat, ta, ta. There is so much melody also into the whole aspect of what you say, rhythm. So before I move again, hand over to Ramya, I have a couple of things which I want to talk about, and then Ramya will take over from there. When I, according to my understanding of rhythm in dance, laya in dance, we present it. I feel that there are 4 ways of presenting it. I call it simple, 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 complex, complex, simple, and complex, complex. So I'll repeat it. Simple, 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 complex, complex, simple, complex, complex. Now, what does this mean? Actually, when I say simple, simple, what are these two simple? When you say it could be the theme which you're presenting, if the theme is very simple and it's very understandable and the way, and then you also put movements or the fixed, tala or structure in a simple way so that both go in harmony together. So simple, complex. The thing is very simple, but you want to accentuate more and bring it a little more, make it more interesting on this one. So you bring a little bit of complexity with simplicity. So again, in spite of bringing 2 different tones, you still harmonize them. So harmony is the word for all these things. There is nothing other than that. Now the third one is complex, simple. The whole presentation is very complex. And if you feel, okay, let me bring a beautiful, simple thing to complement it. So the main thing is highlighted. The complex thing is highlighted. In turn, it highlights the simplicity also, what you're coming with. So they both go again in harmony. The last one is very interesting and challenging. That is complex, complex. The concept is very complex. The presentation is also very complex. But yet you bring it in such a way that when they harmonize, you don't know which is complex and which is the simple one in that, or which is the simple one and which is the complex one. They gel very well. Okay, so a simple demonstration of that is I would like to take with is when I say simple, 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 complex, it can be like simple 2 lines. Everything I want to just make it 2 lines because we have lack of time. This one. So most popular jati we will take. What we do is the dhalam gutaka dikutaka dikita tumta tatika dhandata dhandaka jundata jundata dindita ta te kita takata tarita dhandata dhandata jundata jundata dindita ta te tarita dhandata dhandata jundata jundata dindita ta te ta dhandata junduta dindita kita ta dhandata junduta dindita kita kritikadum kritikadum takatiku kritikadum takatiku kritikadum 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 takatiku kritikadum. This is simple. Simple and simple means I'm reciting the way I'm tapping also this way it is and going in harmony. The simple, complex. Simple is something very simple, but you're making it more look a little bit complex. Is Dhalang gutaka dikutaka digula tum jana kutam takita tam takita taka jana kutam takita tam takita taka jana kutam tergada takita taka jana kutam takita tam takita taka jana kutam tergada kutam tergada ta jana kuta ta tergada ta jana kuta ta tergada jana kuta jana kuta ta jana kuta ta tergada ta jana kuta ta tergada jana kuta jana kuta ta jana kuta ta tergada ta jana kuta ta tergada jana kuta jana kuta jana kuta takita rum ta jana kuta takita jana kuta takita ta tergada rum ta tergada rum ta jana kuta takita jana kuta takita jana kuta takita ta takita tergada rum ta takita tergada rum. This is simple and complex. So you're doing different last third one is complex and simple. Complex is simple. The solocatos are very simple, complex, but the tapping and the presentation will be very, very, very simple. So dhalang gutaka tikutaka tatikita tum ta di di This is complex and simple. So this is how it is. Last one is complex and complex. There are many, I'll just two lines. Dhalam gutaka dikutaka tadikata 30 30 30 30 30 30 30 thana 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 jono 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 dini 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 kita 30 30 thana 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 jono dini 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 30 30 thana thana jono jono dini dini like this you can go on exploring different. So these are the four aspects I keep in mind when I do compositions for dance, because these are very, very important for us to understand that you play with the audience, this one with these four, and also it's just not because you have to use it, it's how much auchityam is very important. As a word auchityam, the relevance of all these things at the right time, that is very important. So a quick demo of one of this one, where how you can make it even more, stretch it out, the rhythm. For example, the jatis we use all the dit tom nam jam nam tom di, or tariketa taka kukuntari dagakuntari, different syllables. There is family of syllables, sholukatus. But I thought we'll do one jati which only word gam ganapate, only 3 gam ganapate. So that small demonstration I'll show you. I'll be assisted by my daughter Rasika. She will just show you the small portion of that. Dhalam gutaka dikutaka tatikita tum gum ga na pa te ga na pa te ganna patte ga na pa te ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ga na pa te ganna patte 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 gum ga na pa te ga na pa te ganna patte ga na pa te ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ga na pa te ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ga na patte ganna patte ganna patte gam ganna patte gam ganna patte gam ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ga na patte gam ganna patte gam ganna patte gam ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ga na patte ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte ganna patte gam 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 ganna patte Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate, 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 Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate, 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 Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate gam, Ganapate, 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 Ganapate. So this is how we use the Ganapati, Solugam Ganapate. So like this, we can go on elaborating. Before I give it to Ramya, I would like Ramya to just play those clippings, one of the clippings that is which the Sharavana Bhava, that, yeah, just
It was all queued up. Just
Sorry, you have some problem to play?
for some reason, it just did.
That's okay. I can recite it myself. It's in flow. I think we'll do it off.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So simple. What I want to say is in this particular composition.
It stopped, Ramya.
Ramya, we can't hear it.
Can't hear.
Okay, I think I'll take. The Jati goes plays is on Muruga and it plays with the syllable Sharavana Bhava, 6 letters. And it is juxtaposed with somebody saying we could hear. Okay. But anyway, I'll just Dhalam Gutaka Dikutaka Tadikitatum Ta Thi Kukunta Ri Sha Ra Wa Na Bha Wa Dhi Kukunta Ta Kunta Ri Sha Ra Wa Na Bha Wa Kukunta Ta Kunta Kukunta Ri Sha Ra Wa Na Bha Wa Sha Ra Wa Na Bha Wa Sha Ra Wa Na Bha Wa Datrikita Takata Dikukuntati Shata Vana Bhavati Kukunta Takuntati Shata Vana Bhava Kukunta Takunta Kukuntati Shata Vana Bhava Shara Vana Bhava Shara Vana Bhava Tadikita Takata Kukuntati Shata Vana Bhavati Kukunta Takuntati Shata Vana Bhava Kukunta Takunta Kukuntati Shata Vana Bhava Shara Vana Bhava Shara Vana Bhava Tadikata Kukuntati Shata Vana Bhavati Kukunta Takuntati Shata Vana Bhava Kukunta Takunta Kukuntati Shata Vana Bhava Shara Vana Bhava. Like this, you can go on with the different, playing around with the syllables and the concept of the, this one. So this is how you adapt rhythm or talam or jatis in different way. I will end this one way. Another aspect of using how you can bring bhava into jati. So that is what is important. And how, if Ramya, when I'm doing this in the background, if you can just observe the movements and sing some Apurvi Kalyani Raga. So how we can work on this, we'll see that. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to give me this one like this. Yeah. Dalang gutaka dikutaka tadikita tum tam. Di tat tari tat dharna kukun tat ri jam nam tat kita tat di mita kita tat ka tam di tat tari tat dharna kunta ri jam nam ta ki ta ti mi kit ta ta di tat ti tat dhanda tat kunta ti jam nam kit di mi kit tam di tat ti tat dhanda kunta ti jam nam kit di mi kit tam di tat ti tat dhanda kunta ti jam nam kit di di tat ti tat dhanda kunta ti jam nam kit ti mi di na tum taka dikuta di na tum taka ta di na tum ta di na tum tak din na tum taka ta din na tum taka dikuta din na tum tak din na tum taka ta din na tum taka dikuta din na tum ta din na tum taka ta din na tum taka dikuta din na tum. So this is how the heroine is dancing with Muruga, thinking that he's there, and how you can use a Trikala Jati to create a dialogue between the hero and heroine, and also highlight this thai of the main this one. I accentuate this thai of the main song. So these are different ways of working on that is it's an ocean. So I'm only picking up few drops, and I'm just talking about it. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. So now I move on. I hand it over to Ramya to take over.
Oh, and to actually Vibhaji, I think so. More than I think these are just things, especially from what Sir you spoke about today. I was thinking when you talked about the simple, complex uh, um aspects for all the engineers, the and nor gates. Uh, but I was thinking of how we the old what we consider traditional pushpanjalis, right? The the set of rhythmic syllables or the shoulder cutter with the music is it just keeps going, and on top of that others are layered, and the layering over the years have either remained simple or have become more complex, and vice versa with uh, I guess like younger composers and newer composers, current day composers, the shoulder cutters themselves have become complex, during which time it depends on how, I guess, the ability of the dancer, and also the mindset of the choreographer, how you want to superimpose rhythmic patterns and movements on top of an already complex
Right.
musical phrase. So that was something that, I mean, you can sort of see trends that come and go, and that is, I think, something to keep in mind, especially when you're presented with something brand new, right? There are certain pre-existing compositions, and when you receive a new something that is brand new, how are you going to approach it? So I guess these are tools to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's like what you said was very interesting. How much complex, how much simple is very important. It is just not to show the skill. Oh, I can make very complex things, or the thing. It's auchityam, like I said, auchityam is the relevance. How much is there, and also we have to keep in mind the dance part of it. It is just not about you know. The predominantly when you say dance, it should be dance. When you say music, it has to be music. It's a how. So what takes the it's very important. I agree completely with what you said. Yeah.
I,
So can we open for questions,
yeah.
or we?
I just wanted to quickly come back to what Ramya had started in the beginning, where she had given this list. When you think of a Devi, what are all the qualities? And maybe tie that back into like, maybe how can we show a Devi being angry, or a Devi being compassionate, or a Devi being universally, giving blessings and giving all the good things for all the people that are praying, how do we that evoke that with, say, a tala or with a raga or a combination of both? If you could just give some insights into that. And we will be open for questions. So if you have questions, folks, please put it on the chat.
Simple I would like to take is Devi when you want to show, for example, the fearful side of the Devi, where she's doing the samharam of a particular demon or something. So how you play with the syllables, just a small demonstration. I'm not going to go into details. The syllables, the way you choose, the way you recite, the kind of modulations which you use are very very important in bringing out the right bhava of particular whatever you. So for example, it is this one between a duel between the Devi and the demon, and how they, for example, so you can say thalang gutakati kutakata dikitatum tat dikukun takun 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 tadi tadi tadanda takun tadi tadi tadanda takun tadi tadi tadanda takun tadi tadi tadanda takun tadi tatakutari tari 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 kukuntari takuntari kukuntari kukuntari tadhittang 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 tadhittari tadhittari dhanata dhanata tadhittang 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 tadhittari 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 Tarita tarita, tarita taka tarita, tarita taka tarita taka dhana taka juluta taka dhimita taka tarita taka gata tikta gata tikta taka tading gina to tading gina to tading gina to taka tading gina to tading gina to tading gina to taka tading gina to tading gina to tading gina to. So this is how you can use a modulation. And the Muktayam part, I will use first Tishram, then the Khandana.
Right.
So tadiktang tadhiktang gadadhiktang gadadhiktang gadadading genato tadi genato tading genato that part is kandam takata takita 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 genato tading genato tading genato takatading genato tadi genato tading genato takita 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 is how you use. So this is how I feel we can bring. So musically Ramya will be able to bring in more, give more insight.
Again,
Yeah. That was one of the questions, actually, if you could add to that and show examples of transitions to different bhavas through music.
so I think we right, instead of separating, music is one thing and rhythm is something. I think what is really interesting is when we have these tools, you juxtapose, and like how Sir showed in how in his jati he uses, even in the choreography, right? There is a musical layering which already creates that undercurrent or undertone of the emotion. On top of that there is the rhythm, and on top of that there is the choreography, and the combination of the three of that is what, for instance, even in now Sir's recitation of the jati, where we're thinking about Devi doing samharam, right? When he softened his voice, there, just because he softened his voice doesn't mean the Devi is going to look upon the person that she's killing with so much kindness. No, that at that point we cannot be like, oh my darling, come here, I'll let me kill you. That's not what she's thinking. She's thinking, she's probably taking that breath. How is she going to walk? She's going to that heaving. So we understand the underlying situation and then create those modulations. And yes, silence before the storm, exactly, right? And then she comes and then just like finishes off the thing. So in the same way, I think musically we can use modulation, softening, and volume, and also speed. I think so, sir. We had talked a lot about kala pramanam,
Ala Pramana.
kala pramanam, or the speed with which things are happening. I will, if I just like move my sword in a very gentle manner, nothing is going to, as we all know, chopping potatoes and things, that will not happen, right? But and at what speed do things need to happen is, I think, very important. For instance, let's see. I think Madhumanti asked about, transitioning to different
Transition. Yeah.
transitioning into different bhavas. So let's again take the example of the Devi, and that's nurturing, or a mother. We'll just think of mother, right? And mothers, we know, go through so many different emotions with the child, but the bordering emotion, underlying emotion is always love, even in anger. So if we think of, and I'm just going to think of, na, na, it's like, come here, I'm going to give you one tight slap, okay? Or na, 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 so the pace of it, whether you take it at a higher pitch or a lower pitch, how slow, how much gaps, silent gaps you leave in between, the repose. I think all of that comes into play when you are trying to show what is happening. And for me, I always like to have a visual in front of me. Then the music flows very easily. It was easy to sing when Rasika was dancing, and uh, I wasn't then thinking about, the technical aspects of it. Sir said Puri Kalyani, and she danced, and it was so apparent what she was doing. And this was the first time we are doing this, so that speaks to how he has already conceptualized what needs to happen, and then it just happens. So that.
I'm going to take one more question, which is, I think, for Kiran. Are there a set of syllables you use in the compositions?
More than there are no fixed syllables, but what we do is in dance the syllables are musical. We make it musical. That's the difference between dance, the solu katus and syllables, and the konokol. What we use in mridangam and the thing. The mridangam akshara kalas are very raw. Aksharas are very raw. So
Okay.
what we do is we polish it, fine tune it, make it musical, and then use it in dance. The same syllables, but in also there are sometimes we use a family. Tari dhana jono dimi, kukuntari takuntari Vikutari, like that we use, or jam tari jana tari kukuntari, like that. Only thing is because basically what we do is we try to see the harmony, in the whole thing. And also when I believe that there has to be there should be a reference of the same syllables which we use in the beginning till the end. Somewhere it comes and goes, so you are not disjointed. It's like saying, for example, tari dana jonno dimi kukunta takunta dikku dekku. I mean, it becomes so like it becomes like a, there has to be a reference. So
Yeah.
even if you use different syllables in between, you come back to giving references of what you have taken as the main syllables. So there are no fixed syllables, but it's important to think what syllables you use based on what is that you're going to present
Right.
and what is the theme behind the whole the concept is very important for us. Then you decide which you want to use.
Just one more question, Kiran, is so in the sense of the talas and intricacies in the solukatu and how you say it kind of create the mood, would it be appropriate to think of it more of a voice modulation rather than of a musical way of doing it? I mean, does the person have to be musically trained or musically aware of what he is saying, or is it more like the force and the modulation according to the beat?
uh, Musically trained, for a dancer the end point is dance. For a musician the end point is musician. For me, I look at it as geetam vadya nrityam trayam sangeetam. But this is sangeetam what we are doing. So if a dancer should know music, dancer should know vadyam, musicians will know what the dance is. Dance means need not be technically knowing all the aspects, but the bhavas, the expressions, the that all anubhavas, the experiences, what we go through, all these things are important. So dancers should and must know music.
I
For
guess that
I always say in dance is the body, music is the soul.
Very well said. Very well said. I think there's one more question to Kiran from
No.
the chat. Are there limitations to making a bowl to fit the dancer's skill to adapt to the music?
I'm sorry, I didn't get this question.
Question is like, do you have some limitations in the way you say or create these syllables in order to fit the dancer's skill or to adapt it to the music? Are there any sort of limitations
There
there?
is no secret. I only talk about the auchityam. I said, the relevance, how much is necessary and how much is not necessary. When you talk about the limits, sky is the limit. That I don't think it's a. So only thing is, everyone should be at optimum level. If you want to achieve something very, very, complex and make it, everyone feels it is, owns the whole thing. But otherwise, there are no limits. But yes, we do take in consideration the ability of a dancer, because not everything as a dancer I can do. Well, there are certain things may not look good on me, may not be able to execute. I'm not able to execute. So if I'm forced upon something, it looks very funny. Some other thing will come out. It becomes so aesthetically. I would like to see how it suits is important. So it's important for us to keep in mind the when I say limitation, I don't look limitation as a restriction. For me, limitation is beauty. When I say limitation, like when the nose is there, it keeps growing, it becomes very ugly. So it has a limitation, a year. So it creates an identity. So that is very important for me. So limitation is important for me, not in that sense, but in the sense I understand as beauty.
So, to think of what you said right at the beginning, right? Like the pranava and the the inherent. I think that laya, that inherent laya that exists in a person, that once you harmonize with that, then that becomes perfect for that person.
True, true.
Music or whatever it is, the movement.
Yeah.
Ramya just wanted you to, sing the bhava. I think that is one of the outstanding requests is how do you show bhava with different, I think, ragas? How do you evoke that different emotions that come in dance?
I knew this is going to come once you made the huge, sweeping statement saying that every ragam can have, you cannot brand a ragam as being happy ragam, sad ragam, things like that. My mother was just reminding me of a lecture demonstration we attended a long time ago. And Vedavalli Amma had said, everyone calls Mukhari Ragam, it's known as the crying ragam, right? And there are many jokes, and those who speak Tamil also say, right, Mukhari Vadinda, like there is there are small songs that talk about all of that. But no, Mukhari can be so many other things also. And so it depends on the skill of and the knowledge of the singer who does it. And I don't claim to be any of those. But let's see. Let's take maybe like Pantuvarali, and we'll try maybe a couple of emotions. If I only played with something like that, there is something in my mind. It seems like there is something tentative, maybe fearful, unknown, eerie. But I could also choose to do it as someone that's coming in the middle of the night. Maybe the intent is not to be afraid, but the intent is to be slightly hidden. Maybe something sneaky. So, uh, ah, na, 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 ah, ra, na, 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 maybe a demand, maybe a demand. Who is this? Or tears, angry tears. So, in some ways, yeah, I have to milk every ragam a little more to find how you can extract what emotion you want in it from it.
I have one question. I think this is for both of you. When we say raga and tala with respect to the bhava, There is Bhava with the dancer herself or himself, and there is also that going on with the audience. What do you think would be the similarities or the differences in how the dancer experiences it versus the audience experiencing Raga, Tala, and Bhava together?
Hmm.
Uh, for me, you said Raga, Tala, and Bhava. For me, it's the Bhava which is the first thing. So the Bhava has the Tala in it and the Raga in it and all those things. The Bhava. So when I say how the dancer represents, for dance is nothing but a sophisticated representation of reality. So what we all go through as bhava is similar, whether it's a musician or, but we have a visual representation. That's all. In dance, it's a visual representation of the same thing, which comes through melody and through for a singer. For me, it's important to understand that bhava is very important for me, because unless that is understood well, experienced well, it when you and expressed well, the right rasa will be created, or the right kind of, with the help of the right kind of the laya in it. When I say tala is later on, it's a more structural thing. For me, laya is important. So that is a very important for me to come, make a successful presentation on stage. So what Ramya has to say, she will add on.
I would add on to that word auchityam, sir, that you had said, auchityam or harmony. Um, and when we say that our dance is a sophisticated actualization or representation of what everyone goes through, now when you have the layers of, the ragam and the talam and kala pramanam, all of that superimposed on that's in that sophisticated representation. um, if it all works, if there is complete auchityam and harmony in that representation, then from the viewer's point of view, the viewer doesn't have to be technically, trained, or it just comes through. I don't need to know which, avartanam it is, or which yati it is. I don't need to know those terms, or I don't even need to know the names of the ragams or what could have happened, rasas. I don't need to know anything, but it comes through. The dancer will have practiced. I mean, on stage we would have practiced, so we are aware of it. But if there is any discomfort in that presentation, automatically it will not translate to the audience. So I think that harmony is achieved when we on our end have spent that time to make sure it all works, it all gels and works together, and it's not a show of any kind of showmanship. When that
Right, right. I completely agree.
when that doesn't happen, I mean, like, flair is needed, of course, but at the same time, not to show that hey, I can do this and nobody else can. So if that doesn't happen, I think the again what's said, bhava, which remains prime, comes through.
Beautifully said. Thank you. I don't think we have any more questions. If anybody has any, I think we can stay for a minute or so. I just had one last question from my side is, how do you think we as teachers and as propagators of this art can make uh, children or students who are coming into dance aware of this synchronicity between bhava, raga, tala, and make them more aware and more feeling about this? And think about this as they are learning and not take it in a mechanical way, but understand, how everything gels together.
I think just set them free, expose them, expose a dancer to the music, a musician to a dance.
Yeah,
So its exposure is important.
let them.
So allow them to be exposed to it. So that is very, very important, I feel.
Yeah, I think just not draw lines and say this.
Yeah,
I'm a dancer. I will only move, my hands
yeah.
and feet. Um, uh, that it has to become a part of life. And as we grow older, it's easy to say these things when my teacher and my mother and everyone, my elders said the same words to me when I was a kid. I did not understand it at all, but I'm glad that they just said do, just be be and do, and to make sure that we spend that time, even if we, even through the tears and, I'm bored, I don't want to do this, all of that. I'm glad that they, through all the tears, persisted. And we also persisted. Cryingly, we persisted, or happily, we persisted. And now we find that joy, and we find that understanding, and we find that there is so much more to do, more to learn. New facets are being, exposed. And
Yeah.
have that, to be able to experience that excitement is what I like. I think our job should be to share with everybody that excitement, that there is so much unknown, and there's so much. It's so magical. I
Yeah.
think.
The freedom you give them, like Ramya said, you don't structure them from the beginning itself. Keep it open. Slowly, technically, we are doing our job as teachers to instill the right kind of, all those things. But when you're thinking, allow them to think, freely. But at the same time, also keep them hungry a little bit because they know the value of food. So they have to be hungry. I need to be hungry to get what I want.
Yes.
So that hunger should be there. Very important.
Beautifully said. With that, I think we are done for the session today. Thank you once more very much, Kiran and Ramya. And you both have been so wonderful. It has been a really insightful session and very inspiring. And thank you for sharing your knowledge and all of your experience with all of us today. And thank you, IDEA, for having this wonderful masterclass session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank
Namaskar.
you.